Hey guys, welcome to the Magfed Ranch Paintball channel, and today I'm going to be doing a versus video. But before I get into it guys, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, comment, and share. Alright, let's get into it guys. So today I'm going to be doing a versus comparison video of all the different positions and the markers that would be associated with those different roles in the in Magfed paintball. Okay, guys. So the first position or first level of marker builds that I want to talk about is going to be the SBMs, or the short barrel markers. The next category that we have, moving further along, is going to be the GPM, or general purpose marker. The next category after that, the third category, is going to be the DMMs, or the designated marksman markers, or sometimes what I would like to call as well the SPMs, the special purpose markers, right? And then lastly, the sniper, obviously long distance sniper platform markers, okay guys? And so before I break down all the different categories and all the different markers and the build type or build style, right, that goes along with those roles, we got to talk about what made it all possible, guys. Like what one thing made it all possible, and that is, guys, the FSR, the first strike rounds. Okay, because without these things, without these bad boys, this would literally just be for show, right? It'd literally be just for looks. Okay, guys, and real quick, obviously, airsoft, I just want to make this, quick kind of like comparison, and of course, kind of quick kind of correlation. In airsoft, the reason why they're capable or able to do these roles, right, is because they, one, set these rules and regulations in terms of the different positions that they can play, this, the type of, obviously, airsoft rifles that you can use for that position. And then, of course, some of the performance metrics, right? The FPS, how fast can you shoot the BB? Obviously, the hop-up, style, or the hop-up feature. And, of course, the weight of the BB as well. Okay, guys? So we talked about this in another video, guys, and I wanted to clarify it on this video, but obviously those distances were like 50 to 60 feet for the rifleman category. Right, they had obviously 50 or 60 feet and beyond would have been the DMM, right, the designated marksman category, and then of course they had, lastly, was their sniper position, which was obviously 80 feet and beyond, right, or sometimes 100 feet and beyond. So guys, that the video I made about the airsoft and paintball comparison, I apologize. I said yards. What I meant to, of course, should have said was feet. And so, yeah, it was these minimum requirements in terms of when they could engage their targets in terms of feet that allowed for these different positions to be established. And of course, because of those rules and regulations, they were allowed to use, obviously, different features within their rifles, right? FPS, BB weight, so forth and so on. Okay, guys. So anyways, getting back to it. FSRs. These things allowed now these Magfed paintball markers of ours to be able to engage targets at a further distance, right? I'm going to shoot some videos for you guys eventually in terms of just finding out what the furthest distance we can shoot these babies at with all the different barrels, but right now, the general consensus is that it's about 150 yards, right? 450 feet is the kind of max effective range of these rounds with these markers. And so, guys, we're going to put that to the test. But in this video, I just want to talk about, now that we've been able to extend the paintball engagements out to 150 yards now we are able to fulfill these roles, from 0 CQB all the way up to 150 yards, okay, guys? And so some of the platforms and some of the different builds I'm going to discuss in this video is now based on the facts. So, guys, yeah, without FSR, none of this would be possible. So, shout out to First Strike, shout out to Tiberius. That's what they were called before, for developing, making those rounds to make it all possible, okay, guys? So, let's talk about the first position, first role. The SBM, or what I affectionately call the short barrel markers, or the shorties, okay guys? So in this position, in this role, you know, you are trying to have a purpose build, right? A mission purpose build of 80 yards and below. You know, that's kind of what my recommendation, kind of what my mindset would be if you're trying to build a marker of this build. And the reason for that, guys, is not that it can't engage targets out to 100 yards or beyond, right? It's just that the markers are obviously a little bit more compact. They're a little bit more, you know, wieldy. So it's meant to be able to, you know, be more handy in a close CQB situation, right? Be able to go around the bunkers, maneuver around corners, right? Lighter as well too. Weight does come into play, right? So it's just a lot faster. Anything that is obviously lighter, you can move faster and react faster with it. And so yes, so the SPM is definitely meant for more close quarter engagements, but of course it can still allow engagements out past to 80 yards or beyond. But the optic is going to be an important part of that build, as far as if you want to, you know, be able to engage, you know, maximize your engagements at further distance, or if you're trying to maximize your engagement at closer distance, right? And so that's kind of where a red dot, like I have here on our H&R MR, 416D marker, right? This one allows you to get super fast engagements, guys, right? I mean, the red dot is literally just right there as soon as you pop that target, you know, your marker up. Really easy to find. Put that freaking, you know, dot holographic, you know, EOTech type of sight on your target. Press the trigger, bam, you're good to go, right? Obviously at 60, 80 yards engagements too, you can still engage your targets. You just got to find the holds with the FS adjustable riser. And of course, you can still engage your targets effectively, but you know, with the red dot, it's going to be a 40 yard, 50 yard, or in very fast engagement, right? I mean, you can literally 20 yards, bam, that red dot's on the money, but even at a 40 yard hold, maybe you just hold that red dot above that person slightly without having to adjust the riser, and you can still engage the target. Obviously, guys, with the barrel lengths too, like I was telling you, I'm going to start shooting some more videos in terms of all the different barrel lengths and what their accuracy differences are. But in my testing, just to let you guys know that the shorties are going to be a little bit of a bigger group as the distances extend. Of course, there's a lot of caveats, guys, for that. There's going to be, you know, how you press the trigger, how you're handling the marker, the type of FS rounds that you use, guys. Like I told you, there are differences within all the FS rounds that you can get when you buy a pack of FS, right? And so, yeah, so dialed in, everything set up correctly, you know, especially if it's going to be with the red dot. This marker is going to be set up for more like 60 yards and in engagements. But of course, you can still reach out and touch somebody with this build, okay, guys? Now, the next category I have is what I call the GPM, or general purpose markers. And now this is kind of where the barrel lengths, guys, are going to be more 12 to 14 inches, you know, right around there. I know there's some 9-inch barrels out there as well too, but we're looking at, 11-inch barrels, but we're looking, like I said, around that 11 to 14-inch build, okay? Oh, and real quick, the SBM builds are going to be 10 inches or less, okay, guys? So 10 inches maximum barrel length or less, okay? Just in terms of making it handy. So yeah, the GPMs. The GPMs are supposed to kind of fulfill that role between a SPM or DMM setup and, of course, the SBM setup, right? So it's not so big that it's not going to be maneuverable, not going to be wieldy, but it's not going to be obviously as compact as an SBM will be, which of course is going to add to its weight. So it's going to be a little bit heavier of a package compared to the SBM, okay? But the trade-off with that is obviously with the longer barrels, and once again, guys, like I said, I'm going to shoot these test videos for you guys eventually to show you that difference in accuracy. You are going to get a little bit increased accuracy with the longer barrels, right? The 12. This one right here is our MR 417 Assaulter marker clone. And yeah, it's going to achieve a little bit tighter groups than the 10-inch shorties will be, or less. Especially if you start using some of our other rounds like the DMM rounds or even the sniper rounds. It's gonna make that group a lot tighter, okay, guys? And so on this build, now we can start looking at like crossbow scopes. Of course, like I said, if you guys want, you can still use a red dot with this setup, but you know, the red dot's disadvantage is that, you know, it's not going to be as fast engaging targets at 60 yards and beyond compared to a crossbow scope because of the reticle, right? Because of the reticle function, you can literally use the holds in the crossbow scopes to extend those engagements a lot faster. Now, this UTG scope, crossbow scope that I have on the MR417, guys, go check out the review that I did on it, but it is a 4x fixed power crossbow scope. And it has reticles for the holes from 20 yards all the way out to 70 yards, guys. So yeah. Okay. I'm sorry, this is 60 yards, guys. Okay, so it's got holds all the way out to 60 yards, guys. So really good magnification, right? 4x to be able to identify your target, really be able to see, you know, put the reticle on the target that you're aiming at. But it's limited in its holds compared to some of the other crossbow scopes, right? So this only has a 20 to 60 yard hold. But once again, like I said, it's still going to be faster than the red dot because now you can engage a target at 20 yards. And if you need to, you can engage that target at 60 yards just using the holds instead of having to adjust the riser. Okay, guys? And like I said, with that increased accuracy out to the further distances, your probability to hit those longer range targets is going to be higher, of course, right? The 60 or 80 yards, the grouping is going to be a little bit tighter. And then, of course, you're going to be able to hit your target on a probability of scale better. Now, once again, the distance, you know, if the SBMs were, you know, purpose built for 80 yards and in, the GPMs are going to be, to me, like 100 to maybe 120 yards and in is the range, right? But 100 yards is kind of what I'm more talking about, especially if you have a crossbow scope that is limited to the 60 or 70 yard holds. Okay, so yeah, this is going to be like 100 yard and in purpose built. This is going to be a 80 yard, 60 yard and in purpose built, right? So there's kind of a range. Okay, guys. All right. The next purpose or mission purpose or marker build or role is going to be the SPM, the special purpose marker, or the DMM, the designated marksman marker. Okay, guys? Now we're talking about, in terms of distance engagements, now we're talking about 120 to maybe 130, 140, right? Kind of within that range. And of course, less. It's, you know, it's still going to be a very highly capable marker at CQB distances, but because of its length and size and its weight, it's not going to be the best tool at those engagements because it's not going to be as fast, it's not going to be as wieldy. You're not going to be able to maneuver it around corners or bunkers or in tight locations as good as the SBMs will be, or even the GPMs. Now, once again, the trade-off is that the increased accuracy of the longer barrels, right? So we're talking 15 to 18 inch barrels, guys. That's kind of where the SPM or DMM falls into, right? And with that length barrel, once again, I'm going to shoot video for you guys to document and prove this, but you're going to reduce that grouping even further, you know. And guys, of course, we're talking about inches here. We're not talking about, you know, going from a 15-inch group at, you know, 80 yards to all of a sudden, you know, a 3-inch group at 80 yards, right? So this one, the SBMs might average somewhere around 15 inches. The GPMs might average somewhere around 12 or 13. And now we're talking about the SPM DMMs, you know, averaging around 10 or 11. So usually there's this 2 to 3 inch reduction in group size. Of course, you know, if you're using the different rounds that we offer, the sniper rounds, the DMM rounds, then, you know, we're capable of shrinking those groups a little even further, okay, guys? And once again, like I said, I've done the testing, but of course, I'll document those videos for you guys to prove it, okay? Continuing on with the build, this is kind of where now we can look into doing bipods, right? Because now you might need to shoot from a prone or you might shoot from a bunker or a barricade of some sort. So now you can put that, and of course you're shooting at a longer distance, so you're going to take your time more. You're not assaulting and trying to use fast engagements. You can actually set up and obviously take your targets out at a further distance, and so the bipod comes in handy for that. And so it'll allow you to obviously have a stable platform, and you can make those shots even more accurately, even obviously more probability of hit at the further distances like 80, 100, and of course possibly reaching out to 120 to 130 yards with this build setup. Okay, guys. Now, another thing I want to talk about magazines. You guys will notice that on the smaller builds, the shorter barrel builds, I have the bigger magazines. And of course, that would be the recommended magazines, because you want more rounds if you're going to have to assault a position, right? You don't want to have an 11-round magazine only if you're going to have to go and engage targets closer and, of course, fire more rounds, right? So yeah, so the as you start getting into the GPMs and the SBM builds, you probably want the higher capacity mags. But as we get into the SPM or the DMM builds, now we can start using the shorter mags. Obviously, not only to keep the weight down, guys, to keep it light, but there's also, obviously a mindset of, making sure that every round that you're going to fire counts, right? So you're not going to be in the mindset of just unleashing a bunch of rounds. You're going to want to take your time, use obviously the benefit of this build to your advantage by taking your time, setting up that shot, and obviously trying to get that one shot, one elimination situation, right? Let's talk about optics real quick to help us obviously get that one shot elimination. Now we're talking about crossbow scopes that are going to have the 100-yard reticle holds, right? And unfortunately, from the scopes that I've seen out there, guys, that I've tested, it's going to be the variable speed scopes. And so with the trade-off on that, and guys, of course, go check out all our tabletop crossbow scopes to kind of get the finer details. But the disadvantage with the variable speed crossbow scopes is that you don't get the high power magnification, because of course the speed is related to the magnification. But what you do get is those longer distance holds, right? So even though it might be a 2.5x like this Hawk XB1 here, or the Lumex, which would be closer to a 2x, but what you get with these ones is that you get that 20 to 100 yard crosshair holds out to the further distances. So now you don't have to use the FS adjustable risers. You can engage those targets a lot faster just using the reticle. And then, of course, if you need to shoot past 100 yards, now you have the capability with the adjustable riser. Okay, guys, so that's the SPM. DMM type of fill position is going to be that 120, 130, and in. Okay, guys. The last last position, last build for that position is going to be your sniper setup. Now, this is going to be where you obviously want to go with the longest barrel out there capable, guys, which is 20 inches right now is kind of the max length that rifle barrels come in, whether that's the Nemesis or the Hammerhead barrels, guys. And so what you're going to get with that, once again, is going to be even tighter groups. And of course, with tighter groups, now you can engage at further distances, right? Because those groups are going to be tighter at, the 100-yard distances, but at 120, 150, it's going to obviously be just as correlated to being tighter groups at the further distances, okay, guys? And so, but with that, of course, comes a con as well, too. Now you can see how big this marker is versus, the SBM all the way at the end there of the build. So it's not going to be the best tool to try to engage targets at close range, right? If you're going to have to try to do, CQB around a bunker, a clear room, not going to probably be the best size and weight to do that. You're going to get, of course, increased weight, guys, especially with the barrel being longer, so it's going to create more fatigue, just like the DMM as well, too. If you add a bipod at the end of the sniper setup, which 100% I would recommend, because, we're trying to take those calculated, slow, accurate, long distance shots. That's going to add even more weight to the marker, the front end of the marker. And so, of course, it's going to, add more fatigue to your play, okay guys? Once again, the optic, you know, we're gonna wanna use something that has the reticle holes out to 100 yards at least. I think one of the markers I tested has another hold at the further distances, although it's not numbered. So I'm gonna be very curious to test when I go test the long distance capability of these markers for you guys, what that hold will be, guys. So I'm kind of excited to test what that hold will be. But yes, so now we're getting to, like I said, once again, the variable speed crossbow scopes with the 100-yard reticle holds. And of course, you know, we are trying to engage targets now out to 150 yards, guys, right? The sniper position is designed to go to engagement from 150 yards and in, but ideally what we're trying to engage is that 80 yard, maybe 60 yards at the minimum, but 80 yards to 150 yards is kind of its target goal, right? So we're not trying to freaking be spotted. We're not trying to assault, right? We're not trying to, have enemies, in essence, we need to maximize our advantage, which is with that platform, you're trying to take that shot at a further distance so your enemy can't see you or can't even engage you, right? Or as accurately, right? Let's say with an SBM, you know, its max accuracy effector range is 120 maybe. And so with the sniper setup, now you can sit back from that 120-yard engagement, and even though, yes, the SBM can reach you out there, it's not going to be as accurate as your setup, which will allow you to take them out at hopefully a faster, right, and a higher probability of engagement, okay, guys? And so, once again, you know, with the DMM and the sniper setups, this is going to be where we want to probably use the shorter magazines, because once again, we're trying to lighten the weight of the setup already. And then, of course, you know, if we have to shoot from the prone or shoot from a weird position where we're using the bipod, the taller mags, the 19 round or 18 round mags, and of course the 30 round mags, they're not going to allow you to shoot from those positions because they're too long, okay guys? So once again, what is your purpose? What is your goal? What is your distance range that you're mostly trying to engage your targets from, okay guys? And so the sniper is going to be 150 and in, okay guys? Let's talk about real quick setups. Check out the last video, guys, where I compared the T15 and the M17 platforms, but the M17 is going to be a little bit more consistent. So not to say that you can't have a DMM or a sniper setup with a T15. It's going to be really effective, like I'm going to show you guys. But, you know, the M17 is going to be a little bit more consistent. And so if you're trying to really get those dialed in, accurate, consistent shots at the longer distance, M17 might be a better platform for you, okay, at the further distances. But on the flip side of that, if you're trying to make a more compact platform, a more compact build, more with the SBM, then unfortunately the M17 follows more of an AR-10 pattern, whereas the T15 follows a more AR-15 pattern. So it's just a smaller, compact, and it's going to be a little bit lighter setup if you build the shorter barrel markers with the T15. Okay, guys? And so, guys, those are all the different, builds and the distance ranges that you would kind of set your goals out to be. One thing I just want to say real quick is that obviously we are regulated to 300 feet per second, guys. So unlike airsoft, we don't have the feet per second, capability. It would be kind of cool in the future if we continue developing our FSR rounds, maybe with different weights, maybe with different calibers, like the 50 caliber rounds that we currently have. But maybe we can shoot them at different feet per second. But guys, that's another video. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button. Check you guys next time. Peace.